He is back. The visor is back. Even when they're in a dome, the man who still for some reason wears a visor over his eyes is officially back in New England. You guys already know about it. You see the title. Josh McDaniels is officially back as the New England Patriots offensive coordinator. And this all offseason, over the last couple of weeks, we've been heavily talking about head coach. Where do the Patriots go with head coach? Where do they go in terms of the draft and free agency? We're not talking about arguably the biggest move the Patriots were going to have to make this offseason, and that was that offensive coordinator. Why? Because, well, one, you obviously need an offense to succeed in today's NFL, especially today's version of the NFL. More specifically, you need to be able to pass the ball. Your biggest investment last year was Drake Maye. I don't care what you do on the defensive side of the football. I don't care what you do at head coach at this point. Just give me a damn offensive coordinator that is going to make sure that your quarterback doesn't fail in just year two. And they go out and we hear that they're going to do a real search at offensive coordinator. But we heard even before the Patriots hired Mike Vrabel, before they even fired Drake Maye, that wherever Mike Vrabel went, it was more than likely that he was going to take Josh McDaniels with him. And that's exactly what he did. Now, while I do like this move, we're going to break it down. We're going to break down what this ultimately means for the Patriots. The Pats have been going out over the last few days and have been conducting external offensive coordinator interviews. And there's some guys that I actually really liked. In fact, I'm surprised that we're hearing that the Patriots have an offensive coordinator before we hear about a defensive coordinator. I thought a defensive coordinator was going to be hired almost immediately within a couple of days after the hiring of Mike Vrabel. I thought offensive coordinator was going to be something that took a few weeks because of just how thorough ultimately they were going to be, and that didn't happen. Of course, today's video brought to you guys by BetUS. We'll talk to you a little bit later how you can get a limited time exclusive deal from them. But make sure you guys drop in the comment section below how you feel about this hiring because, man, I have seen two different sides of Pats Nation. One side completely giddy that we are getting a guy back that knows the system, knows philosophy, and it's just a guy that you know the expectations. You know what you're going to get from him. But then I've also seen Patriots fans be on the other side of that. Like I said, you know what you're getting. What are you doing? Get younger. Bring something new in. Do not go the old Patriots route, the do your job route. Just completely clean house. Stop going back to your old roots. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. When I get through my analysis and my thoughts, we are going to get into some of you guys, your thoughts, and ultimately what you think about this. But like I had alluded to, the Patriots did do a search at offensive coordinator, and there were some guys that I really liked that they were bringing in. One of which, the Patriots interviewed Thomas Brown for their vacant offensive coordinator position. He, in 2024, was the pass game coordinator, offensive coordinator, and interim head coach for the Chicago Bears. So a guy that has experience with Caleb Williams and had some really good moments with the Bears this past season. They also went out and they interviewed Marcus Brady for their offensive coordinator position. That is who was the pass game coordinator for the Chargers this past year, a guy who I thought a lot of people hated, but I thought he had some actual potential. I wanted to see more that we could potentially get from him. Then they went out, and this was just a day ago. Oh, this was for defensive coordinator, excuse me. But today, earlier today, we heard that the Patriots interviewed Vikings offensive assistant Grant, guys, I cannot say this name to save my life. Grant Udinski. Actually, I think I hit that on the head. I might have actually hit that on the head. Grant Udinski for their offensive coordinator job. He, this past season, was an assistant offensive coordinator and assistant quarterbacks coach for the Minnesota Vikings. There were guys that the Patriots were bringing in for this OC search that I thought had actual potential, that I actually really, really liked. But the same day that they brought in Udinski is the same day that they interviewed Josh McDaniels. And the Patriots did not let Josh McDaniels leave without a contract. They had him come in. He lives in Boston. We already know this. Josh McDaniels, his family, they've been living in Boston, so he was already close. Came in, said, give me the outline. And they didn't let him leave. They said, sign this paper. your offensive coordinator. Again, you might think that with my expressions, I hated this. And I don't. I really don't. Despite what it might sound like, I don't. I just wish that they went out and maybe did a bit of a more thorough job, right? You just had a couple teams get eliminated from playoff contention that you weren't expecting. You just had the Detroit Lions get eliminated. The Vikings were eliminated. Hell, the Rams were just eliminated. There were guys that I expected the Patriots to interview for offensive coordinator that they simply didn't. And there are going to be some people that I think come in and say, well, they did exactly with offensive coordinator what they did at head coach. They simply met with guys to meet the Rooney Rule, and then they went out and they signed the guy that they were going to hire the entire time. And I don't think that is the case, because even after the Patriots met the Rooney Rule with offensive coordinator, they still went out and did multiple other interviews and then brought in Josh McDaniels and ultimately hired him. And if you think that Josh McDaniels is the best guy for your job, then I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're wrong. In fact, I thought that Josh McDaniels probably was the best guy for the offensive coordinator job. But you still want to bring in as many candidates as possible to see if maybe there is a young buck. There is this young guy who hasn't had the opportunity as an offensive coordinator yet and can come in and be a difference maker for you. Bring in a new philosophy, change with today's generation of the NFL, which is a lot more closer to college football than it was back in 2010, when the Patriots were a dominant team. And I think that's going to be the biggest question with Josh McDaniels, is that when he comes in, can he readapt this Patriots offense? Can he mix in some of the stuff that he once did to make the Patriots way, to make Tom Brady, Cam Newton, Mac Jones. But can he also mix that with some of the collegiate philosophies that we're seeing come out of college? Because that's what they're going to have to adapt with the young players the Patriots have in Drake Maye, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker. The guys are going to continue to bring in through the draft because we know they want to build through the draft. Can he still match up an offense that is creative enough and young enough for some of these guys to understand? I actually want to get next into the kind of the tree of Josh McDaniels, his experience, because I think that is a big reason why Mike Vrabel is hiring him, right? Mike Vrabel never worked with Josh McDaniels, right? So it's not like Vrabel's bringing in a guy that he is experienced with, but he knows of Josh McDaniels. He has a relationship with Josh McDaniels, but he's never worked one-on-one with him. So it's not like he's bringing on his boy. I think that Vrabel's making this move because Vrabel is simply hiring somebody who he knows has experience. Because Vrabel is going to do the same thing that Drake Maye tried to do, and that is be a CEO-styled coach. Now, Vrabel is still going to have his hands on the offense at times, have his hands on the defense at times, but he wants to have the same philosophy that Drake Maye did. And there's nothing wrong with this. Several coaches do this, where they say, I'm going to sit back from a CEO-styled standpoint. The offensive coordinator is going to be the head coach to the offense. The defensive coordinator is going to be the head coach to the defense. And we saw that when Drake Maye tried to do this last year, he had people that simply were not qualified nor ready to do the job. You had DeMarcus Covington going out being a year one defensive coordinator, and he went from defensive line coach the last couple years straight to DC. And he simply wasn't ready for it. He wasn't ready to take over an entire side of a football team all by himself. You had Alex Van Pelt, who was probably the Patriots' best coach this past season. He got better as the stretch went on, but even he was still young and new and developing. He knew how to scheme up an offense, but he didn't know how to call plays, at least to a full extent. With Josh McDaniels, you have a guy who's going to come in. He was a head coach with multiple different teams. He's been here in New England. He knows how to make an offense for an NFL team, more specifically this team. He's worked with some of the players who are even still currently on this football team. He's worked as a quarterbacks coach. He's worked at multiple different positions as a coach, and we'll break that down here in a second. But because of how experienced Josh McDaniels is, that will allow Mike Vrabel to confidently hand him the keys to the offense, know that it's going to be okay, know that it's going to succeed. And now Mike Vrabel can have his hands more on the overall football operations of the team. He can have his hands a little bit more on the defensive side of the football, because from what it sounds like, the Patriots are going to hire, this isn't for certain yet, but from what it sounds like, the Patriots are going to hire the Detroit Lions defensive lines coach, which used to be the defensive lines coach for the Tennessee Titans when Mike Vrabel was the head coach for the Titans. So with that being said, that would be a first-time defensive coordinator that Vrabel would be bringing on. And if that's the case, I think Vrabel is going to have his hands a little bit more on the defense. His attention is going to be a little bit more on the defense. And if he brought in a young offensive coordinator who's doing it for the first time, he'd have to, have a little bit of his say in the offense, a little bit of the say on the defense, a little bit of the say of the overall football operations. He wouldn't be able to truly focus on one side of the football. And by bringing in Josh McDaniels, now again, he can focus a little bit more on the defense. He can focus a little bit more on the overall football operations. And I think that's why he wants to bring in somebody who's experienced. I think he also wants to bring in someone who's experienced because although Mike Vrabel updated his overall repertoire this past season, he went to the Cleveland Browns here in 2024 and worked as an offensive consultant, working closely with the offensive line and tight ends. That was the first time that Mike Vrabel had ever worked with the offense. So although he's a little bit more familiar with how to run an offense, he's not nearly as knowledgeable than to how to run a defense, how to have his say into things, how to direct a defense. So at least here, he feels that with Josh McDaniels, he doesn't have to have his say in on things in order for the offensive side of the football to succeed. And Mike Vrabel said in that press conference when he was introduced as the Patriots' 16th head coach in franchise history, he said, you have to have a good offense to succeed in today's NFL. You also have to be able to pass the ball effectively and efficiently in order to succeed in today's NFL. He also went as far as to say the reason that he chose the New England Patriots was because of Drake Maye. He understands in Mike Vrabel just how important an offense is to an overall team's success, and that's why he's bringing in a veteran guy who is experienced and knows the expectations of this organization. And if you don't believe me that Josh McDaniels is experienced, well, let's just get into it then. So Josh McDaniels has been coaching ever since 1999. He started in 1999 with Michigan State as their graduate assistant. In 2001, he went to the New England Patriots, who was a personnel assistant. From 2002 to 2003, he was a defensive assistant. So how about that? Josh McDaniels doesn't just have knowledge on the offense, but even a little bit of knowledge on the defense. I think that's part of what makes him such an offensive guru. But from 2004 to 2005, he was the quarterback's coach. From 2006 to 2008, he was the offensive coordinator and quarterback's coach. Then he went to the Denver Broncos in 2009 to 2010 as their head coach. We know that ultimately that didn't work out all that well for him. Neither stint as a head coach really worked out for him. But after he got fired with the Denver Broncos, he ended up going to the Rams. That's when they were the St. Louis Rams, not the LA Rams. That was in 2011. He worked as an offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Then in 2012 to 2019, he was the New England Patriots offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. In 2020, he was just the offensive coordinator. He wasn't the quarterbacks coach anymore. In 2021, he went back to his 2012 to 2019 roots, yet again becoming the Patriots offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. And then from 2022 to 2023, we know he was the head coach for the Raiders. And then now he is the New England Patriots offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. So hold up. That is not the report that was originally put out there. The original report from Ian Rappaport was that the New England Patriots were hiring Josh McDaniels to be their offensive coordinator. But here, it is saying offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. So if that is the case, then it sounds like Patriots quarterbacks coach T.C. McCartney will also no longer be back with the Patriots. But hey, that's what you're getting with Josh McDaniels. With Josh McDaniels, you are getting a guy that is a do-it-all type of guy. You're getting somebody who has worked with quarterbacks, who's worked on the defensive side of the football for a period of time. He's worked all over the offense, really. And I think you go back and you look at what Josh McDaniels was able to do with multiple quarterbacks. Now, one, Tom Brady. And I think everybody's going to hear Tom Brady and be like, dude, Tom Brady was Tom Brady. And I'm not telling you that Josh McDaniels is the reason that Tom Brady was Tom Brady, but I mean, you look at it, Josh McDaniels, between being a quarterback's coach and then the offensive coordinator early on in Brady's career, was a massive piece in Tom Brady's development. The fact that in 2020, they signed Cam Newton in what? June, July, not too long before the start of training camp, very late into the offseason process. And the Patriots just barely missed the playoffs. Year one without Tom Brady and with a washed up Cam Newton. And by the way, Cam Newton, he was washed up because after that first stint with the Patriots, he did absolutely nothing. His career was done. But they were still good enough. Josh McDaniels got the best out of Cam Newton to still just barely miss the playoffs. Then in 2001, in fact, I have some of these statistics that I want to share with you guys. In 2001, with a rookie Mac Jones, took the Patriots to the playoffs. I don't think it's a coincidence that, one, the Patriots offense fell off when Josh McDaniels left, but two, Mac Jones fell off when Josh McDaniels left. Let's keep in mind, year one, Mac Jones went toe-to-toe with Jamar Chase for Offensive Rookie of the Year. If it wasn't for Jamar Chase just going off at the end of the season, Mac Jones would have won it. He was like 88th, 86th in NFL's top 100 players, voted on by NFL players themselves in Mac Jones' rookie year. He made a Pro Bowl his rookie year, and that was all because of Josh McDaniels. In 2021, again, under Mac Jones, the Patriots were 6th in scoring, 10th in EPA per play, 4th in success rate, 15th in total offense, 10th in third down, 11th in red zone, and 8th in yards per pass attempt. Over the last couple of years, really ever since Josh McDaniels left, if we're going to be completely honest with ourselves, the offense has gotten worse and worse and worse. And I'm really excited to see what McDaniels is going to be able to do with somebody like Drake Maye, who multiple NFL executives have come out and said, yeah, Drake Maye can be a top 5 quarterback. Drake Maye can even be a top 3 quarterback. And the fact that Drake Maye, under Gerard Mayo last year and Alex Van Pelt, was able to do some of the things he did with the hardest schedule in the NFL is absolutely absurd. Now what can he do with a true offensive genius, with a true offensive guru? Not to mention the fact that there are still some reports that have said that although Alex Van Pelt won't be the Patriots offensive coordinator, there might still be a role for somebody like Alex Van Pelt. And I hope that that's the case, because can you imagine Josh McDaniels in the building as your offensive coordinator / quarterbacks coach, but then you also have Alex Van Pelt continuing to help develop him? Drake Maye, at that case, might be a top 3 quarterback by the end of 2025. I think that in terms of Drake Maye, in terms of his development in year 2, his development moving forward, this was the best case for him. And you can say from a creative standpoint in designing an offense and play calling that maybe there were better candidates. If you want to make that debate, okay, I can respect it. But which out of these offensive coordinator interviews that the Patriots had, at least from the ones that were reported, which of those guys were going to come in and really develop a quarterback better than Josh McDaniels has? None of them. It's crazy that over the last few years, we've gone on this bizarre offensive coordinator search, just trying to replace Josh McDaniels. And in 2025, it all comes back to just rehiring Josh McDaniels. Again, if you look back since like 2002, 2003, Josh McDaniels has been a pivotal point for this offense. whether that was developing Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jacoby Brissett, Matt Castle, whether it's been designing the offense, whether it's been being the play caller. And it feels like every single time Josh McDaniels left this organization, the offense, one way or another, took a step back. In 2021, Josh McDaniels was your offensive coordinator. In 2022, it was Matt Patricia, took a step back. 2023 was Bill O'Brien, took another step back. 2024 was Alex Van Pelt, took another step back. And now here we're back where we started with Josh McDaniels. It just feels like every single time this organization tries to move on from McDaniels, they shoot themselves in the foot, they go backwards, and it just results on them bringing him back. A lot of people are going to say, too, that Josh McDaniels, why are you bringing him back? He was a terrible head coach 2 times. He failed 2 times. Guys, how many times do we have to have this discussion where being a head coach is wildly different than being a coordinator? We are comparing apples to oranges. The things you're asked to do as a head coach are not nearly the same things you're asked to do as an offensive coordinator, as a defensive coordinator. You're asked to oversee the entire football operations. You're asked to make roster moves. You're asked to look at every part of the team. You can't just focus on one side of the football. Josh McDaniels, whenever he's had the opportunity to just simply work with the offense, create the offense, and put all of his time and energies to the offense, it's always been good. It's come to leading the team, directing the team, making the overall football operation decisions. That's where he struggles, and that's why he's not a head coach in the NFL. The other good thing about this is that because he has failed 2 times as a head coach, this guy's not going to go out and get another opportunity. He is going to have to make the Patriots the number 1 offense in the league for multiple years, go out and win the Patriots the Super Bowl, and make Drake Maye the league MVP to even have the potential at having another head coach interview. He's failed multiple times now. Teams are going to look at that and say, you're getting older, that you side is not with you anymore, and you failed multiple times. Yeah, I don't want you as my head coach. So no matter how good Josh McDaniels does with New England, we don't have to worry about a team poaching him from the Patriots. That was one of the roughest things about bringing in a young guy who's never done this before. That if they come in and they hit the ground running, they might only last a year or 2. But if Josh McDaniels comes in and hits the ground running, he's still probably not going to get an offensive coordinator, but he's probably still not going to get a head coach interview or another head coach opportunity. Where there is good, though, there is also the bad. And that is the fact that you can expect to see the most screen plays that we have seen since 2021. Now, I hope with Josh McDaniels, he knows that he has a dual threat quarterback. He has a guy that you can run the ball with. He's going to be somebody that opens up the run game, opens up the offense in general, and Drake Maye operates the best downfield. And I hope Josh McDaniels utilizes that. He doesn't ask him to dink and dunk, operate in the short to intermediate route, and ask him to just run a bunch of screens. That's what I feel like he did a lot with Brady. With Drake Maye, you're not doing that. You know, you're not going to do what you did with Mac Jones. You're not going to do what you did with Cam Newton. You want to run a little bit more of an air-rated offense. Target downfield, get chunk plays. Find those opportunities. But Josh McDaniels, so the Patriots screen passes per attempt by year under Josh McDaniels. Get this, ready? In 2012, he ran 77 screen passes. That was 4th in the NFL. 2013, he ran 57. That was 12th in the NFL. 2014, he ran 60. That was 10th in the NFL. 2015, he ran 69. That was 7th in the NFL. 2016, he ran 70. That was 7th in the NFL again. 2017, he ran 57 screen passes. That was 14th in the NFL. 2018, he ran 60 screen passes. That was 22nd in the NFL. 2019, he ran 63. That was 13th in the NFL. 2020, with Cam Newton, he ran 70. That was 12th in the NFL. And then with Mac Jones in 2021, he ran 63. That was 22nd in the NFL. More specifically, what do we know with Josh McDaniels? He loves to call a lot of screenplays, but more specifically, boy, oh boy, is Josh McDaniels predictable as all hell on third down. Josh McDaniels on third down per pass attempt by each year, get this. Let's go to 2015. We don't need to go all the way back to 2012. So 2015, he ran 17 screen passes on third down. That was 4th in the NFL that year. In 2016, he ran 14 screen passes on third down. That was 6th in the NFL. 2017, he ran 8. That was 26th in the NFL. 2018, he ran 9. That was 23rd in the NFL. In 2019, he ran 19 screen passes on third down. That was 3rd in the NFL. 2020, under Cam Newton, he ran 17. That was 5th in the NFL. And then with Mac Jones in 2021, he ran 17 screen passes. 17 screen passes on third down. That was 3rd in the NFL. So again, what I want to see from Josh McDaniels is that he can grow, and that now that he has a young, developing, dual threat quarterback, the type of quarterback that Josh McDaniels has never had in his coaching career, how can he be a little bit less predictable? How can he be more creative? That's what I want to see. Because I also think that, we want to talk about Drake Maye in the passing game, and I get it. But I think that the run game is actually going to look so much better under Josh McDaniels. I feel like the last true elite year and consistent year we saw from this running back group was 2021 with Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson. Get back to those days. Get back to the days where your quarterback at least had a running game he could rely on if need be. I think the philosophy for the Patriots offensively is going to be the same in 2025 as it was supposed to be in 2024. Run the ball effectively and efficiently. Outrun your opposing team. And run the ball ultimately to open up the pass. Before we continue on, today's video, I do want to give a massive shout out to the sponsors of this video over at BetUS. Right now, when you guys sign up and use the code that you see on the screen, YouTube150, that is YouTube150, you will lock yourselves into a limited time exclusive offer of a 150% sign up bonus on your first deposit, followed by $125 on your next 2, all the way up to $2,000. That is a deal on your first 3 deposits right now. You heard that correctly. We got the postseason here. We got the championship round of playoffs that you can bet on with BetUS. We got the Super Bowl, and I get it. We're Patriots fans. We're not in the postseason. Spoiler alert, it sucks. We're not in the postseason. And you, as a Patriots fan, might be saying, well, if my Patriots aren't there, I ain't betting on them. That's perfectly fine, because BetUS, they have the best betting variety in the business. So if you want to use this sign-up bonus on the Celtics, the Bruins, the Red Sox are right around the corner, you can also use this on there. You can also bet on NFL futures, college football, horse racing, politics, entertainment, fighting, you name it. BetUS is going to have it. And they're also giving you 10% back on your net losses 2 times a year, baby, and giving you your very own personalized account manager. Remember that supporting the sponsors that support the channel supports me massively here at Patriots Global, giving you guys the best Patriots analysis and Patriots breakdown. Also, guys, we're headed to the freaking Senior Bowl next week. After that, we're headed to the Super Bowl. We could not do this full time if it wasn't for the sponsors supporting the channel, giving you guys not just the best Patriots content, but the best NFL related content. So shout out to BetUS. But I do want to go ahead and I want to get into some of your questions, your comments, your concerns about Josh McDaniels. So make sure you guys start commenting any questions you have for Josh McDaniels. Let me know your thoughts about this hiring, and we'll get into a few of your comments before we end off today's video. We got my boy Isaiah coming in here with a $5 donation. Says, with Josh McDaniels, now I want Kelvin Banks Jr. Interesting. I know a lot of people want Ted McMillan. I want to be upset with the addition of Ted McMillan. I actually really like Ted McMillan. He is clear-cut my number 1 wide receiver. But we know that Josh McDaniels is also somebody who believes in the trenches. He believes in a good offensive line. I don't think it's also a coincidence that the last decent and pretty good offensive line we saw was in 2021 by Josh McDaniels. When McDaniels left, all hell broke loose with that offensive line. It got worse. 2022, big step back. 2023, major step back. 2024, dear God, are we even allowed to call this an offensive line? So I think that's another underrated part to Josh McDaniels is he'll come in, make the offensive line look better with the way he's going to scheme up the offense, find creative ways to avoid the pressure and some of the deficiencies of the offensive line, but he'll also understand how to utilize guys and where they should ultimately be, placed. Josh McDaniels isn't the type of guy who's going to come in and say, let's make Chukwuekwuemeka for a right tackle, play left tackle, even though he hasn't done so in the NFL at all. Hey, we drafted Caden Wallace, who was a right tackle, but let's try to put him over at left tackle just because. That's something that Josh McDaniels isn't going to do. But like I said, I think that he believes in having a good offensive line, having good trenches, and that's something that we heard Mike Vrabel also say during his introductory press conference was that, it starts with the trenches, and that's something that they're going to focus on this offseason. So, hey, I'm still under the assumption to where if you cannot address the offensive line in free agency adequately, you better go out in that damn first round and get a damn tackle. I don't care if you trade down and then get him, but we need to see significantly better offensive line play in 2025 if this offense and if this team is going to have any type of success. Let's see. My boy Trey comes in here with a $5 donation. Says, this team has such a terrible infatuation of bringing back former affiliates from the dynasty. What happened to wanting to start a new era? And see, this is what I think a lot of Patriots fans are going to buy into. And I think a lot of Patriots fans are going to have issues with bringing him back because it's what we know. Patriots fans, they want something different. Belichick sucked at the end. Get rid of Belichick. Cut all ties. People had issues with bringing in Drake Maye for that exact reason. People have issues with them bringing in Mike Vrabel for that exact reason. Patriots fans so desperately want to move on from the 20 years of dominance that any ties back to that dominance, they get PTSD. And I get it, right? Recency bias. Patriots were good for 20 years. A dominance that the league has never seen before and will never see ever again. That 20-year span that they went on made them the best dynasty that the league has ever seen and one of the most prolific dynasties in sports history. So while I understand since Tom Brady left, things haven't exactly gone well, things haven't been good. When you go on a 20-year span, there are still positives to take away. There are still things that you should take from that 20-year span and implement them even into this new generation of the Patriots, a new generation of the NFL here in 2025. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's my motto. It would be really, really cool to see a new generation of the Patriots, something we've never seen before. But again, if it ain't broke, baby, don't fix it. And Josh McDaniels as an offensive coordinator was never broken. Josh McDaniels wasn't fired as an offensive coordinator. Josh McDaniels was so good as an offensive coordinator that he got a head coaching job twice. He was so good as an offensive coordinator, despite being fired from the Denver Broncos, that the Raiders and several other teams gave him another opportunity. Josh McDaniels, back in the day, was what we know Ben Johnson as. Josh McDaniels every single year was like the hottest name in the coaching pool. So many teams wanted him. Every single year as Patriots fans, we had to ask ourselves, is Josh McDaniels even going to come back next year? Because every year, multiple teams wanted to interview him. But every single year, Josh McDaniels would come back because he said, until there is a perfect situation for me, I'm not leaving. And then he found the Raiders. He moved on from offensive coordinator with New England. And yet again, he crapped the bag. The fact that he crapped the bag as bad as he did with the Denver Broncos years ago, but did so good as an offensive coordinator the second time around that he got another opportunity, I think says a lot about just how much of an offensive guru this guy is. guys, we are not hiring Josh McDaniels to be the head coach, the interim head coach, anything like that. We are asking him to come in, take over the offense, be the head coach of the offense, and develop Drake Maye. Something that every single opportunity he's had to do so, whether it was Tom Brady, Mac Jones, Cam Newton, Matt Castle, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jacoby Brissett, every quarterback he's had the opportunity to develop and work with and call an offense around has always succeeded. If it ain't broke, baby, don't fix it. Michaela comes into the chat. Michaela, great to see you. Michaela, a longtime supporter of the channel, says, yo, PG, how does McDaniel's scheme reach this team's ceiling? It's too vanilla, complicated for wide receivers to grasp and develop. So that's actually a really, really good point, Michaela, is that a lot of offensive coordinators, they either make things too complicated for an offense to pick up, or they make it too simple to where opposing defenses pick up on what they're doing because it's too vanilla. It's blatantly obvious what you're trying to run, and it's just so easy to stop. Josh McDaniels has been so good with no matter who the quarterback is, who the receivers are, who the supporting cast is. He has been so good at designing an offense based off of what his team was ready for. Josh McDaniels never put his players in a situation that they were not ready for. If it was too complicated, he would reel it back until they were ready to add more to their plate. If it was too simple, he would add more to their plate. He was so self-aware of his offense and his players and where his players were at to make sure that they were always in a position to succeed. So that's something that I feel really confident with. I feel like Alex Van Pelt, he didn't really have that mindset on knowing when to add more and when to take away. The same thing went for Bill O'Brien. The same thing went for Matt Patricia, obviously. But I also think that because Josh McDaniels is going to be, again, like the head coach to, your offense, he's going to step in with your wide receivers coaches, your offensive line coaches, your running backs coaches. And if he feels like those positional coaches are putting too much on the plate of his players, he's going to say, hey, dial it back. They're not ready. That's the great thing about having somebody like Josh McDaniels. But a great point by Michaela there. I'm glad you hit on that. I would have completely forgotten. Greg comes in with a $5 donation and says, McDaniels as the OC I like, but not surprised. Either good for the development of Drake Maye. I want to see some outside voices for DC and positional coaches. I agree. It doesn't sound like there's going to be a quarterback's coach because from apparently what's being said, Josh McDaniels will be the quarterback's coach and offensive coordinator, which, hey, I'm completely fine with. I guess go put the money you would give to a quarterback's coach and go give that damn money to a good wide receivers coach. But again, Josh McDaniels is only going to do so much. You still need to come in and have a good offensive line coach. Scott Peters is now the offensive line coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. So you need a new O-line coach. You need a new wide receivers coach. You need new running backs coaches, because let's keep in mind the Patriots cleaned house. In fact, see if I can pull up the names here real quick, because it was just a couple of days ago that we saw this. Where is it? So the New England Patriots fired almost every single offensive coach that they brought in last year. You know how last year we cleaned house and we're like, we're going to bring in a new running backs coach, wide receivers coach, offensive line coach, tight end coach. We're doing the same thing this offseason. The Patriots fired running backs coach Taylor Embry, wide receivers coach Tyler Hughes, assistant wide receivers coach Tyquan Underwood, and tight ends coach Bob Bicknell. So, Greg, I think you hit on this perfectly. You like the OC addition, but now what can you do with the positional coaches? Because those positional coaches are going to be a big piece in developing your running backs, your wide receivers, your offensive line. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do from there. Let me see. The name that I keep hearing for defensive lines coach is Terrell Williams. He is the defensive coordinator, or excuse me, would be their defensive coordinator, but he is the Detroit Lions defensive lines coach run game coordinator. And with the Tennessee Titans under Mike Vrabel was the assistant head coach and defensive line coach. Now, I haven't made a video on this because it's not official. According to Matt Zentiz, I believe I'm saying that right, he said the Patriots are expected to hire defensive line coach Terrell Williams as their defensive coordinator. Until it says officially from Ian Rappaport they've hired a guy, I'm not going to make a video on it. But right now, that is the expectation for defensive coordinator. My boy Patriots 92, baby. My boy from the AFC East Roundtable comes in. He says, Vrabel likes his running backs. He will draft Ashton Jeanty and trade Ramondre for extra picks. Dude, here's the thing. So if they use their original first-round pick on Ashton Jeanty, I'd be upset. I think Ashton Jeanty is not going to fall out of the top 10. I'm trying. Where are the Cowboys? So the Cowboys are 12. Is this correct? Yeah. So the Cowboys are 12. So I think realistically, that's where he's going. Now, who knows? Maybe, oh my gosh, what's the name for the Ben Johnson? I was gonna say Bob Johnson. Now, maybe Ben Johnson, now that he's the head coach of the Bears, maybe he takes Ashton Jeanty at 10. We know he likes his running backs, but I'd have a hard time seeing Jeanty fall out of 12. If the Patriots wanted to trade back into the first round after selecting Abdul Carter or Kelvin Banks, whatever it might be, they wanted to trade back into the back end of the first round if Jeanty fell, I wouldn't be against it at all. But I also think that this is a narrative about Mike Vrabel that isn't fair. And Mike Vrabel touched upon this himself, to where everybody thinks because he ran his offense through Derrick Henry that he doesn't care about utilizing a quarterback, that he doesn't think the quarterback position is important. He doesn't care about developing a quarterback. He had Ryan Tannehill and Marcus Mariota. Good quarterbacks are hard to find. They're not a dime a dozen. How many teams can you say are looking for a franchise quarterback, and how many teams can you say are looking for a franchise quarterback? I guarantee you the amount of teams looking for a franchise quarterback significantly outweighs the teams that actually have their franchise quarterback. Mike Vrabel said, look, we ran our offense through what we had. The ability to go out and get offensive players. Derrick Henry is one of the best running backs of all time. They had a mid-bust of first-round quarterbacks in either Marcus Mariota or Ryan Tannehill. So what did they do? They ran the offense through the hottest piece that they had, and that was Derrick Henry. Now the hottest piece that they have is Drake Maye. And Mike Vrabel said a big reason why he wanted to come here was because of the young, dynamic quarterback that he had, something that he never had in his career. So I do think that Vrabel, Josh McDaniels, they will like their running backs. And honestly, I wonder if under Josh McDaniels, we go back to like a running back by committee. Because if you remember, Josh McDaniels would run that offense through like 3 different running backs. I think that they have 2 guys they really like. I think that Josh McDaniels is really going to like Antonio Gibson. And I was so pissed off last season when the Patriots didn't run Antonio Gibson more. I said, he's a former wide receiver converted to running back when the Commanders drafted him, when he made his transition to the NFL. Why are we not seeing him out wide? Why are we not seeing him in the slot? Why are we not seeing him utilized as a receiving back out of the backfield? Like, that is your James White. Antonio Gibson. Dude, I'm so hyped. Antonio Gibson is your James freaking White, bro. And who got the best out of James White? Who utilized James White? It was Josh McDaniels, man. So I'm so excited to see what Antonio Gibson can do under Josh McDaniels. I feel like that is such a Josh McDaniels type of running back. And then obviously Ramondre Stevenson, like that is a guy that Josh McDaniels worked with Ramondre's rookie year in 2021. So I think it's a good place. I think they're going to continue to roll with that 1-2 punch of Gibson and Ramondre, but it wouldn't surprise me if they go out in the earlier rounds of the draft and get another running back. This is a really good year for running backs in the draft, and they utilize that guy to be like their future and like that number 3 guy for the time being. Trey comes in and says there's a bunch of mocks that have us taking Abdul Carter out of Penn State 4th overall. How pissed would you be if we went defense in the first round? Not at all. Not at all, man. I really, really like Abdul Carter. There are slight character concerns for him, but I don't think it's anything huge. He last March assaulted a construction worker or something like that. But that's the only problem. So I think even the character concerns are a little overblown. I think he's a very, very dynamic player who I think will succeed in today's NFL because he has the power. He has the speed. I think he's going to run a really good 40 time for a linebacker / edge rusher. And so he's going to be the type of edge rusher that wins based off of speed to power and not just pure power. I feel like edge rushers that try to win based off of pure power are wildly inconsistent and they always end up being busts. But I think Abdul Carter has all of the freaking tools to be one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. Like easily could be a top 5 guy. He has really, really good use of hands. He has really good speed. He has really good power. He has all 3 things that you need to succeed and be a dominant edge rusher. He also has experience as an outside linebacker, as an inside linebacker. So you can drop him back into coverage. He can be a stand-up linebacker. He can be an edge rusher, put his hand in the dirt. He can do a multitude of different things. So if he's there at 4 and they want to go Abdul Carter, I wouldn't be upset at all. I think Abdul Carter is one of the only blue chip players in this draft. And I think on my overall big board, I have Abdul Carter as like my second or third like best player in this draft period. So big fan of Abdul Carter. But we'll get into a couple more comments here about how you guys are feeling about this before we log off for the day. Want to apologize to you guys for being a little inactive over the last few days. Your boy's been dealing with some weird sicknesses. Like I'll wake up one day and feel like I got hit by a bus and it'll last an entire day, but then I'll be good the next day. And then a couple days later, I'll feel like I got hit by a bus again. Like I was throwing up my soul the other day when I was like, I'm gonna make a video. Just kidding. I'm throwing up my soul now. So I don't know what's going on there. Obviously, you guys know too, I work with Roundtable Sports in a pretty large capacity. So there's been a lot of things that have been happening with that network. So make sure you guys go ahead and check out Roundtable Sports for more Patriots and NFL related content. And then, of course, guys, in case you didn't know, share it real quick, actually. I didn't know I was going to do this. I would have had this planned in advance. But got a big announcement that a lot of you guys probably already know, but for those who don't, I am going to share it with you now. I've been doing a lot of big things behind the scenes, and I can officially announce it now. This is no longer just a regular fan-based YouTube channel. I told you guys, we're taking this channel to the next level. I'm taking my reporting to the next level. As you guys know, I'm already in school, getting my bachelor's degree in sportscasting, but we are updating that repertoire, baby, that resume, because officially, you heard that right, officially, your boy is headed to the Reese's Senior Bowl next week in Mobile, Alabama, on behalf of Roundtable Sports. So I will be interviewing players. I'll be there watching the players, go out there and practice throughout the week. I fly out Monday. I get back home Friday. So I'll be seeing some of the top prospects in this draft, trying to get some interviews. Hopefully, depending on the interviews that I can get, I can ask these guys if they've met with any teams, including the Patriots. So try to get a little bit of inside information on, maybe some guys that the Patriots have interest in, but not just that. This is the one that I'm most excited for. Is that on behalf of Roundtable Sports with my boy, Richie, you guys know him, he covers the Jets. Dan covers the Bills. And TD, he covers the Dolphins. AFC East Roundtable right here. We are going to New Orleans, literally 2 days after. So I fly out for the Senior Bowl this coming Monday. I get back Friday, and then I fly out that Sunday or Monday for the Super Bowl. And we have a place at Radio Row. We're going to be trying to interview players and whatnot. Your boy is not just heading to the Senior Bowl, but he's also heading to the Super Bowl, where hoping to meet a lot of different players. A lot of times, current and former Patriots are just walking around at the Super Bowl. Pull them aside, get their thoughts on Mike Vrabel, get their thoughts on different directions and whatnot. But like I said, guys, Year one of doing this, never done it before, but nonetheless, really, really, really big opportunities to continue to expand this channel and bring you guys some exclusive news about not just the entire league, but also get some news about the New England Patriots, the direction, thoughts on players in this new generation of the New England Patriots. So really excited for that. But hey, man, I appreciate all y'all showing me love in the comments. It really, really means a lot to me. But my boy comes in here. He says 182 people watching, but only 74 likes. In fact, we got another 90 people watching on Twitter. So we have 263 of you guys watching right now. So please make sure you guys leave a big, big, big like on the video right now. I hate being one of those YouTubers, like full transparency here. I hate being one of those YouTubers to say, like the video, guys, subscribe. But I'm so serious. Even if I put a little thing at the bottom that says like the video, the majority of people don't. But when I say like the video, then the likes go up. Guys, liking the video isn't for looks. It's not for clout. I promise you. I would tell you if it was. But by liking the video, by subscribing, you guys help me hit the YouTube algorithm. By hitting the YouTube algorithm, YouTube will go out. They'll suggest my videos to other people, to other Patriots fans. Give other Patriots fans the opportunity to find this channel. Help me grow the Patriots Global family and make this one, if not, you know what? No, not one. Help me make this the best damn Patriots-related YouTube channel on all of YouTube. Patriots 92 comes in with another $10 donation. You guys are killing the super chat game. That he says, will the Patriots have a run like the Commanders in the next 2 seasons? And like Mason Graham in the draft. So to answer the first part of that, it's not to say they can't, right? But the Patriots are significantly behind the Commanders in terms of overall talent. The Commanders went out in free agency before they drafted Jaden Daniels, and they made moves, bro. Like, they got Bobby Wagner, they got Austin Eckler. That team was going out, and they were already building the team before getting their franchise quarterback. And they already had like a way better offensive line than the Patriots. I think the Commanders have, according to PFF, like the 10th or 12th best offensive line in the NFL. So they already have a better O-line than the Patriots. They have Terry McLaurin, a number one guy, number one wide receiver. And then they added more talent on top of getting their franchise quarterback. So the Patriots definitely can, right? Everybody's saying that Jaden Daniels is such a great quarterback, and he is. I'm not taking anything away from him. But the fact that despite as bad of a season as the Patriots just had, there are league executives saying Drake Maye can be a top 3, top 5 quarterback. The fact that Sean McDermott, the Patriots Bills head coach, is going out after their games against the Patriots and saying, dear God, somebody please trade for Drake Maye because I want this kid out of the division, I think says a lot about Drake Maye. He can be just as good, if not better, than Jaden Daniels. And I really do believe that. I think we're seeing more from Jaden Daniels right now because Jaden Daniels is older. He's more proven. He has more experience in playing football. But as long as the Patriots build up the overall talent, you have Mike Vrabel, who is a failed head coach, who now has another opportunity at being a head coach, just like Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn was a failed head coach for the Atlanta Falcons, took a few years off, then became a head coach for his second tenure. Now with the Commanders, is learning from it and is doing really, really well. There's a lot of parallels between the Patriots and the Commanders. The Patriots are just lacking in terms of overall talent. So I definitely think that as long as they start building that talent, there's no reason the Patriots can't go on a Commanders-like run within the next couple of years. It's not unrealistic. And then as for the Mason Graham part of things, I like Mason Graham. He's a top 5 player in this draft for me, easily the number 1 interior defensive lineman in a very, very good defensive lineman class. Like the fact that Mason Graham is my interior defensive lineman number 1 in a stacked class, I think says a lot about how I view him. I wouldn't draft him there, though. I think you have way too many needs to go out and draft another interior defensive lineman. You need edge rusher significantly more than defensive tackle. Go get Abdul Carter if that's the route you want to take. Go out and get a tackle first. Like, I would like to see the team go out and get tackle, edge rusher, hell, Tet McMillan, before I'd like to see them go out and get, somebody like Mason Graham in the interior. But at the end of the day, they also need talent. And if they think that that's a guy that will best utilize their overall talent and kind of expedite the process of success, then that's the guy that they should go with. But hey, guys, look, I think we're going to end off the stream for here. We did about an hour stream breaking down our thoughts here on Josh McDaniels to the New England Patriots. Again, let us know in the comment section below what you think about it. I have more content dropping for you guys. Now that we're kind of solidifying this coaching staff, we can get more into my content, right? I feel like my type of content isn't always breaking down like the coaching staff and whatnot. Now, obviously, that's my job, right? That's what I do. I will always follow this team, report on the news as it relates to the Pats. But I feel like my favorite content is the outlook. I love talking about the offseason. So I already have one mock draft already done. So that's a video you guys can expect within the next couple of days. You can expect that video to drop this week, my mock draft 1.0. I want to start hitting upon the Patriots schedule next year. I want to break down their opponents for 2025, let you guys know who they play, my thoughts on who they play, and then start talking a little bit about the draft, start talking about free agency, start talking about where this team can go and start improving. So guys, on your way out, make sure to leave a big like on the video, subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. I love you guys more than life, man. I feel like I don't say it enough, but I appreciate you guys so much for everything that you've given me over the years and have continued to give me. I want to be going to the Senior Bowl, the Super Bowl. I want to be working with Roundtable Sports if it wasn't for you guys. This is my dream, baby. This isn't just another YouTube channel. This is not a hobby for me. Like I said, I'm going to school for sportscasting. This is my life. This is my dream. This is my career, and I could not be here without you guys, and I feel like I don't say it enough. So thank you guys so much for watching. Those of you who watched the entire video, those of you who are on every single video, liking, commenting, sharing it, you guys are the absolute GOATs. Turn on those post notifications if you haven't already, so that you get notified every single time that I do post a video, every single time that I go live. Like I said, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Another big shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. But until I see you guys in the next video, go Pats, baby. New generation is here. Let's go.